So I don't know about you, but sometimes I find in brainstorming sessions, there's actually a reticence to really dive into the activity, to come up with out of the box thinking. It's kind of almost like a pressure filled environment, and it makes people freeze up, worried about looking foolish or coming up with something that's like way beyond whatever you can do. And so people start to self-edit. And so for those kinds of groups, I really think Scamper is an excellent tool. And oh, hey, if it's good enough for IKEA and for Apple, then why isn't it good enough for us to use?
SCAMPER is an acronym, obviously, and it's a great prompt to get your team generating ideas around a product or service. You can substitute one part of a service or product for another to increase your value off your offering. You might try combining elements to develop something that's truly unique. Perhaps your team had an idea that didn't quite work in the past because it needed some important tweaks, or it can be adapted to be applied to a different situation. Magnifying or minifying a specific element of your solution is at the heart of modifying. Putting to another use is about creatively applying a product or service that works in one situation and applying it to a completely different scenario. Eliminating involves removing the frills of a product or service to focus on its most essential element or elements. Finally, reversing or rearranging is just like it sounds. You're reconfiguring something in a new way to create a different and hopefully improved end result. I like to call Scamper strategic tinkering. Now let's look at what this looks like in the real world.
So the Kit Kat example is one of my favorites, and I'm really sorry that I can't give credit to this because I'm actually not sure where it has evolved from. But it is such an amazing slide that I couldn't not put it in here. So you think about the Kit Kat and all the different ways you can play with this simple product. So you substitute white chocolate for regular milk chocolate. You combine Kit Kat with peanut butter. I have been to Japan many times. Kit Kat combinations are common there. There's a green tea Kit Kat. You can adapt the Kit Kat into an ice cream cone. You can multiply or magnify. So we can make it like an extra large Kit Kat. We can make it a singular stick of a Kit Kat. You can put it to another use. I'm not sure how popular or how much this caught on, but the Kit Kat drink seems like an interesting way to put it to another use. Again, we can minimize or eliminate and into making one Kit Kat, and then we can repurpose in terms of small Kit Kat bites. So I think this is a really classic and simple way to understand how Scamper can be used. But let's look at it in a context of a service.
Uber is the quintessential example of how they substituted to create an entirely different service. So, obviously, substituting out taxis for people's cars and taxi drivers for usual everyday people. Like it or not, it is a great example. Trivago's entire business model centers on combining elements from other sites to create its own site. And of course, during COVID, healthcare adapted and started to switch to virtual care for non urgent visits over in person care.
One way the hotel industry has modified their services is by creating a system where fresh towels are by request only, and the result is obviously an environmental impact, but it's also a cost savings for the hotels. So this is a personal example of putting something to another use. I was working at a different organization and we had an emergency management app where we could text out staff in an emergency. And we decided to try a little tweak to it and use it for non-emergency situations like filling staff shifts. It worked, it saved a lot of time and money, and was a great way of putting that app to another use.
More and more, we're seeing self-serve options, including at sushi restaurants. Finding staff for wait staff is become more of a challenge, especially after COVID. And this is another example. Also, you could look at Loblaws or Shoppers and those self-serve options as well, as a way of eliminating part of the process. How do you beat the competition when staff are in high demand? Well, one company decided to reverse the order and hire people before they had conducted the due diligence to secure them a job so that they wouldn't lose them to other organizations while they were still interviewing. It's a classic example of how to reverse engineer a process to have a strategic advantage.
I hope you found this Scamper tool review and how to apply it to services useful and valuable, maybe for your own team. If you need any help taking your team or your event to the next level, then why not reach out? Here are the multitude of ways that you can do so, and I really hope that you enjoyed learning about Scamper and hope you have a great day. And please feel free to contact me at any point for a 30-minute free consultation. Look at you staying to the last slide. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. If you need any help building a culture of innovation and positive change, we have all kinds of support that we can offer you, including strategy development, staff and partner engagement. Our specialty is healthcare, but we also really like to play in the not-for-profit space, and team transformation and education. So visit www.bigiinnovation.com or message me. Thanks.